Edition of the Semicon India, and it has been 15 months since we set the ball rolling after 75 years of or 74 years of missed opportunities in semiconductor. And so today I just wanted to share with you the past, the journeys, the misses, the missed opportunities, the lack of political vision, certain incompetence over the last 65-70 years that held back India from semiconductor versus the last 15 months of progress that have been made, and therefore what progress will be made in the future. So the idea was to make a brief presentation to you, tell you the context in which we are working, how we are progressing, so that you get a broader picture. Chaliye, if you look here, I think this, all of you understand, you're all veterans of the tech beat, that the demand for electronics and digital products is intensifying. Electronics is at the core of our lives today, and semiconductor in turn at the core of electronics. We have since 2024 rebuilt the electronics ecosystem. We were almost nothing in electronics in 2014, and today we are a country that is exporting over 1 lakh crores and have crossed almost 8 lakh crores of total electronics production and becoming increasingly big presence in the global value chains for electronics, global supply chains for electronics. Our targets are $300 billion in electronics by 25-26, and of that about $110 billion of semiconductors by 2029. Next. Now, these two slides are the more important slides in the briefing for you. The background of how from 1960 to 2020 or 2014, if you want to use that, India has missed the bus repeatedly on electronics and semiconductors, and in particular semiconductors. Missed opportunity, lack of political and strategic vision, and of course a big dose of incompetence to add. I don't know how many of you are aware that Fairchild Semiconductor, which was the precursor to Intel, came to India in '57 and wanted to set up a packaging unit, and we chased them away. And that packaging unit went on to become the center and the core of the Penang's hub, which is one of Asia's largest packaging hubs in the world. We set up a fab for silicon and germanium transistors, couldn't compete, and it shut it down. 83 to 97, we were absent because the SCL got burned down, halted production, and then came back in a precarious form, and now we are modernizing it. An international semicon majors wanted to start operations in South India, started a clean room, and faced so many roadblocks that they ran away from a potential semiconductor facility, semiconductor investment in 4,000 jobs. Next. There was no semiconductor policy, and when Intel, and they are on record as saying this, wanted to explore a fab in 2007, it is the slow response or the almost inadequate response of the government that caused them to shift that fab plan out of India. And so there is a long history of almost repeatedly over the last 65-75 years, political leaders, political governments that did not understand, lacked, and missed the bus and did not fathom the criticality of semiconductors and electronics. And you know that by 2014, next time. In 2011, they invited an EOI for semiconductor fabrication plant. That did not go anywhere. 2013, nothing happened. A fab city was launched, nothing happened. And this is very important for us to understand. In '87, we were just 2 years behind the latest node in chips. And today we are 12 generations behind. This is the gap that has been caused. This is how far behind we have been left in semiconductors in the last 40 years of inaction. So now I want to talk about 18 months, what we have done in this context. That we are a rising force in the RISC-V program. Prime Minister set out in December 2021, 76,000 crores. Future design, in the design part of the semiconductor ecosystem, we are charging forward today with almost 30 startups. 5 startups have been given direct government financial support and 25 more are being evaluated. We have implemented in a very short period of time a comprehensive curriculum in partnership with industry to create 85,000 highly talented, globally skilled, global talent for VLSI, from PhDs, postdoctorate, masters and bachelors. State-of-the-art ATMP project is coming up, the first one of its kind, which will create 5,000 and 15,000 indirect jobs. Micron, which is a global leader in memories. Several proposals in ATMP and fabs have been evaluated by the ISM. The SCL Mohali is being modernized and a global standard India Semiconductor Research Center will be set up. ये 15 महीने का रिपोर्ट कार्ड है और मैंने पिछले 70 साल का भी रिपोर्ट कार्ड आपको दिखा दिया. Next. That's it?
Yes.
So I just wanted to give you a context because sometimes there are people either lack of understanding or deliberately will characterize the last 15 months of effort in different ways. But India's story on semiconductor, the vision of India being a semicon nation has started 15 months ago for the first time after 70 years. And we are on track to do in the next 10 years with these $10 billion, what countries like China took $200 billion, 25, 30 years and could not succeed. And I welcome you all to the second edition of Semicon India in Gandhinagar. Very fitting place for the second edition of Semicon India, a global summit where over 200 top delegates and companies from around the world are attending, where every leading semiconductor company in the world, every leading semiconductor name in the world is attending and is being represented. And at the same time, startups and India's semiconductor talent and capabilities are also on display. So I just wanted to give you this as a sort of a curtain raiser introduction into the second edition of Semicon India, which the Honorable Prime Minister is inaugurating to us. Thank you.
Sir, any media tie-ups or collaboration we're looking forward with this?
This is the background. When there is an announcement and tie-up, we will be the first ones to invite you and talk to you about it. But this is really not a presentation to talk about tie-ups as much as to tell you the velocity with which we are moving ahead after almost 65, 70 years of a break being put on these ambitions of India being a semiconductor.
So US chip maker Micron was also roped in for the Gujarat plant.
Yeah, first line is that.
What is the volume of business that we are looking at in maybe let's 3 to 5 years?
Look, I will give you some ballpark numbers for your understanding.
Yeah.
China that does today $900 billion of exports on electronics, imports about $400 to $500 billion of semiconductors. The global marketplace for semiconductors is about little north of $1 trillion. You understand what I'm saying? So this is, and nobody can estimate the rate at which the world will digitize over the next 5 years, excepting to today say that rate will be something which is unprecedented and it will be very fast. These are the new normals that we are living in. Digitization, digital products and semiconductors are at the heart of every global economy, including our own digital economy goals. And our Semicon India vision, mission, launched by our Prime Minister, our vision is to create more and more opportunities for Indians, Indian startups, Indian youth, by building an ecosystem that is vibrant, growing and is a major presence in the global semiconductor value chain.
What is the key gain that we can expect from Semicon? What was the main idea?
No, look, if you go back, I don't know how many of you attended the first Semicon India. I'm sure you attended. There was a lot of cynicism and question marks based on our experiences of the 65 years of history, 70 years of history. I can assure you today that there is not one person in the semiconductor global ecosystem that does not look at India as a very credible, viable and fast charging destination for semiconductor investment and innovation.
Also, one more question on the component side. What are we going to do to make sure that the component and ancillary industry is there, because that's a key requirement for the success?
Look, the deepening and broadening of the electronics ecosystem is our stated goal, it's our Prime Minister's stated goal. Semiconductors are a very important part of the deepening strategy. We believe as the scales of our electronics products reach global scales, which we are in smartphone category, it will also be in the server and IT category, and it will be also in wearables and hearables category, that the necessary policy framework is already in place to create a vibrant component ecosystem. And if there is any need for the government to intervene and create more PLI type of scheme, we will do so. But we are absolutely committed to creating a globally competitive component ecosystem, one of which is going to be the semiconductor ecosystem.
India being, one small question, India being,
I don't know.
India being
नौकरी से निकाल देंगे